Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of the Port Migration Partner Visa podcast. If you and your partner are planning to apply for an Australian partner visa, this podcast is your roadmap. If you're new here, I'm so glad you've found us, and if you have already listened to the previous episodes, it's great you're here. Welcome back. Today we are talking about partner visa errors. Errors don't just cause delays, they can cause heartbreak. Thousands of people apply for partner visas every year, but not all get approved. Today we're going to talk about why. And if the worst occurs and you receive a refusal, we're going to talk about what to do. Back in episode 1, we introduced you to the simple framework that we have tried and tested over a decade of working with clients to achieve partner visa success. The system is complex, and it's important to understand what you actually need to focus on to navigate it successfully. In episode 1, we talked about the framework we use with our clients. After working with lots of couples over many years, we've narrowed it down to what we call the 3 E's of partner visa success: eligibility, evidence, and errors. These are the 3 factors that make or break a partner visa application. We covered eligibility in episode 1, so if you haven't listened yet or you need a refresher, jump back and listen from the start. The 8 episodes in season 1 of the Port Migration Partner Visa podcast build on one another and are designed to be listened to in order. In episode 3, we talked about partner visa evidence, and today, in episode 7, we're going to talk about the 3rd E, partner visa errors. Errors are the silent killers of partner visa applications. We see them all the time. People uploading the wrong documents, misunderstanding timelines, or failing to meet critical requirements. And sadly, these mistakes can lead to long delays or even refusal. Let's face it, errors can be awful. The good news? Most errors are completely avoidable if you know what to look out for. And that's what we're talking about today. Partner visa delays and refusals often aren't about the relationship. They're about the paperwork. Lack of evidence, incorrect information, missed documents, and deadlines. If you're applying for a partner visa, I know how much anxiety the thought of making an error can cause. You've probably heard stories of refusals, delays, and devastating outcomes. It's heartbreaking to think that after all the time, effort, and money that goes into preparing an application, an error could bring it all crashing down. And that uncertainty, it weighs on couples, sometimes for months, even years. But here's the good news. Most partner visa errors are preventable. In this episode, we're going to break down the most common mistakes people make and, more importantly, how you can avoid them. This is the final part of the 3 E's of partner visa success: eligibility, evidence, and errors. We've already talked about eligibility, making sure you meet the legal requirements to apply. Then we covered evidence, how to prove your relationship is genuine, committed, and ongoing. Now it's time to tackle errors, the issues that can quietly derail an otherwise strong application. And trust me, these errors aren't always glaringly obvious. Sometimes they're simple oversights, like an innocent inconsistency in dates, missing documentation, or a poorly written relationship statement. Other times they're bigger issues, like providing incorrect evidence or false information. And in some cases, even things outside your control, like a relationship breakdown, can throw everything into disarray. But by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of the most common partner visa mistakes we see, why these errors happen, and how to spot them before they become a problem. What you can do to reduce your risk of refusal or delay, and what to do if the worst happens. At Port Migration, we are MARA registered Australian migration agents. You'll find our registration details in the description, and you can also verify them on the official Migration Agents Registration Authority website, the MARA. Always check that the person giving you Australian visa or migration advice is legally authorised to do so. Your visa is too important to leave in the wrong hands. Finally, before we get started, please listen to this disclaimer. The information in this podcast is general in nature. It doesn't take into account your personal circumstances or specific visa needs, and it is not intended as migration advice. If you need advice tailored to your unique situation, please use the links in the description to get in touch with our experienced team. We'd love to help. The Port Migration Partner Visa podcast is available in both video and audio format. It's available on all your favourite platforms, so while you're here, please like this episode, subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications and share this podcast with your partner. Your support helps other couples find this podcast too. So let's get into it. What are the most common partner visa errors and how can you make sure you don't fall into the same traps? Let's be honest. Partner visas are emotional. You're not just filling in forms, you're building a future together. So when something goes wrong, the impact is huge. You feel the stress, you question everything, and sometimes you don't realise a mistake has been made until it's too late. Even genuine couples can be refused if they don't get the paperwork right. Errors are not always obvious. You might think you've submitted everything correctly, but a small oversight, an incorrect document, or the wrong assumption can be enough to cause delays, or worse, refusals. The hardest part? Many of these errors are totally avoidable. We see these mistakes all the time, from people who are doing a DIY application and also from couples who receive advice or assistance from unregistered providers. If you're applying for a partner visa and you want the best possible outcome, it's essential that you know what to look out for and how to get it right the first time. Here are some of the most common partner visa errors we see. Inconsistent or conflicting information. This might be as simple as putting the wrong date in your relationship statement or saying one thing in your Form 888 and another in your statutory declaration. These seem like little things, but to a case officer, they're red flags. If your timeline doesn't make sense, they can't be confident your relationship is genuine. Missing or outdated evidence. Couples sometimes forget to include current proof of their relationship. They upload a bunch of early photos and messages from when they first met, but forget to show how the relationship has continued to grow. Home Affairs wants to see a relationship that's ongoing, not just one that used to exist. Submitting too much irrelevant information. There's a myth that more evidence is always better, but that's not true. Flooding your application with hundreds of screenshots, unrelated messages, or vague receipts doesn't help. It makes it harder for the decision maker to find what really matters. A clear, well-structured application always performs better than a cluttered one. Not understanding visa conditions or timing. This one breaks our heart because it's so easy to miss. We've seen people try to lodge partner visas when they're not eligible to apply on shore due to conditions like the no further stay condition. We've seen others overstay their visitor visas while gathering documents, and some wait too long to apply and miss their window altogether. Ignoring requests for further information, RFIs. When Home Affairs sends you an RFI, that's not just a suggestion, it's critical. Ignoring it, delaying your response, or replying with vague answers can grind your application to a halt. And if you don't respond at all, your application might be refused outright. Assuming your relationship speaks for itself. This one is tricky. You know your relationship is real. Your partner knows it. Your friends and family know it. But the person reading your application doesn't know you. If you don't tell your story in a way that's structured, supported, and aligned with the legal requirements, they may not be convinced. And genuine relationships do get refused when the evidence isn't strong. Here's what we recommend if you want to avoid the silent killers in your partner visa application. It's important to get your story straight. Sit down with your partner and map out your timeline. Make sure your dates line up across all your forms, statements, and evidence. If you're not sure, get help. Focus on clarity, not volume. More evidence isn't always better. Aim for clear, structured proof across the 4 key categories: financial, household, social, and commitment. A small set of excellent documents will always beat a mountain of random screenshots. Know your visa conditions before you apply. Check whether you're eligible to lodge your application onshore or offshore. Don't assume, you need to know. This is where professional advice can save you thousands of dollars and months of waiting. And don't ignore RFIs. Treat every request from Home Affairs as urgent. If you're not sure what they're asking for or how to respond, get help right away. A fast and accurate response can make or break your application. Invest in expert support. This is probably your first and only time applying for a partner visa. but we've done this hundreds of times. When you work with us at Port Migration, you're not just avoiding errors, you're building a strategy with guidance and support from experienced experts. Errors don't just cause delays, they can cause heartbreak, but the good news is you don't have to do this alone. If you're unsure about your evidence, your eligibility, or your application strategy, now is the perfect time to reach out. We're here to help. If you've been listening to this podcast, you already know that partner visa applications aren't just about ticking boxes. They're about getting every step right at the right time. And when things go wrong, even simple mistakes can cost you months of waiting, unnecessary stress, and sometimes even refusal. Here are 3 real examples of errors that caused significant delays and how you can avoid them. We worked with a couple who lodged their own partner visa application using an email address they don't check regularly. Months later, they contacted us because their visa was still processing, and when we looked into it, we discovered Home Affairs had requested further information weeks earlier. They had missed the deadline. Thankfully, we were able to step in and respond in time, but the lesson is clear. Be vigilant with your email. You don't want to wait 18 months and then miss the crucial correspondence from Home Affairs. If Home Affairs sends you a request and you don't respond, your application could be refused, no matter how genuine your relationship is. We've been contacted by many couples who faced long delays in their visa processing because they haven't had their health checks done. This one is surprisingly common. An example was a couple who contacted us for assistance because they submitted their application but then sat back and waited. A year passed, they thought everything was fine, but their visa grant was delayed for months because when Home Affairs were ready to grant their visa, their health checks still hadn't been done, and then it was a peak period for health assessments and they couldn't get an appointment for weeks. We worked with a couple who were wondering why their application had taken 2.5 years. When we looked into it, Home Affairs had sent not 1, not 2, but 3 separate requests for the information they needed. Each request added more waiting time. What should have taken days dragged into months, and each request could have resulted in refusal. These are the kinds of mistakes that can derail your timeline, not because your relationship isn't genuine, but because the process wasn't handled with the level of care and precision it requires. We've also worked with couples whose errors have resulted in unlawfulness, re-entry bans, or being prevented from submitting an application onshore. And this is exactly why working with a registered migration agent can make such a difference. At Port Migration, we've spent the last 10 years helping couples avoid mistakes like these before they happen. We triple check your evidence, we stay across communication from Home Affairs, and we guide you every step of the way so you never miss a deadline or submit the wrong document. We're also here to help with the highly complex circumstances caused by visa refusals, visa cancellations, unlawfulness, or re-entry bans. If you're feeling unsure, overwhelmed, or just want to get this right the first time, this is the moment to get help. The time you save and the stress you avoid is worth it. Now, when we're talking about errors, it's also important to talk about the thing that no partner visa couple wants to experience, but that we do need to cover here in this episode about errors. It's partner visa refusals. The truth is, even though most people apply with the best of intentions, not all partner visa applications are approved. Sometimes the application didn't include enough evidence. Sometimes a critical mistake was made. Sometimes just people ran out of time or didn't realise what was required until it was too late. Sometimes people aren't eligible or their relationship breaks down. There are a variety of reasons why an application can be refused, and we can't cover them all here. But if the worst happens and you do receive a refusal, what do you do? If you've received a refusal decision from Home Affairs, the most important thing to know is you must act quickly. Once a partner visa is refused, the timeline to appeal the decision through the Administrative Review Tribunal is strict. If you miss that deadline, you will lose the right to appeal entirely. So, what should you do? First, don't panic, but don't delay either. Time is critical, and the sooner you get help, the more options you may have. Second, get expert advice. Not every visa refusal is worth appealing. Some can be fixed more easily with a fresh application. Others may need a more strategic approach. Reach out through the links in the description and we can help you understand your options and figure out the best next step for your unique situation. Third, gather your documents. If you're planning to appeal, make sure you have a copy of the refusal letter, your original application, and any evidence that was submitted. The more organised you are, the faster an expert can assess your case. At Port Migration, we work with couples in this exact situation all the time. Some clients come to us after trying to do the application themselves and then receive that heartbreaking refusal notice. And while it's always better to get things right the first time, it's not always the end of the road. Many partner visa refusals can be appealed, but it's important to act fast and get the right guidance. So if this is you, reach out today, whether it's reviewing your refusal, preparing an appeal, or helping you start fresh with confidence. We're here to help. If you've received a refusal decision or if you're worried your application is heading in that direction, don't wait. At Port Migration, we've helped many couples turn things around after a visa refusal. Whether you need urgent advice, help deciding whether to appeal, or support preparing a stronger new application, we're here for you. Book a complex matter consultation with our MARA registered migration team through the links in the description. Get clarity on your next steps fast. Learn whether appealing or reapplying is the best strategy. Stop guessing and start moving forward with expert help. This is your future we're talking about, and it's too important to leave to chance. Book a call today using the link in the episode description and let's figure this out together. You're not alone in this. We're here to help. We've covered a lot in this episode, and I hope you're walking away feeling more aware of the common pitfalls that can derail a partner visa application. And now that you know what to watch out for, you're already one step ahead. But maybe you're still feeling a little overwhelmed. You might be thinking, that's great advice, but what if I miss something? What if I make a mistake anyway? You're not alone in feeling that way. The good news is, you don't have to navigate this process blindly. I've done this countless times, but if I was doing it for the first time and my future with my partner was relying on it, I wouldn't want to do it alone. If you've ever wondered, how would someone with years of experience approach this if they were in my shoes? You're going to love our next episode. Episode 8 is a special one. I've helped lots of people get a partner visa, but if I had to do it alone, in episode 8, I'm going to tell you how I'd make sure I got it right. I'll walk you through exactly how I would approach a partner visa application if I was applying in a country where I didn't have migration law qualifications and industry experience to rely on. What would I prioritise? What mistakes would I be extra careful to avoid? And what strategies would I use to give myself the best chance of success? It's the ultimate insider perspective, and it's packed with practical advice you won't want to miss. And just a reminder, this podcast is designed to be listened in sequence. Each episode builds on the one before it, giving you a clearer picture of the process and more confidence with every step. So if you haven't already, set aside time to listen to all 8 episodes in order. You won't regret it. Thanks so much for listening today and being part of our Partner Visa community here online. If you found this episode helpful, please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you're listening on YouTube, give it a like and let us know in the comments what stage of the Partner Visa journey you're on. We'd love to hear from you. This podcast is here to support you every step of the way, and we're looking forward to sharing more tips in our next episode. If you and your partner are planning to apply for an Australian partner visa, this podcast is your roadmap, and we've got lots more practical, real-world advice coming up. Until next time, all the best with your application.